Let's make cake decorating a lot easier. From fitting tall cakes into short boxes to piping perfect decorations without any fancy tools, I'll show you the clever fixes and shortcuts I use every day to save time and make cakes look more professional. If your cake is too tall for your box, here's the hack you need. This cake will be 2 tiers, with each cake made up of 3 layers, which are about 1.5 inches tall each, plus filling and frosting, so my cake will end up about 11 inches tall. My cake box is 10 inches tall. To make the lid fit over the tall cake, cut 2 diagonal slits into the side of the lid, the shorter the better. Do the same on the opposite side. Now push the middle flap inside the box and leave the rest on the outside of the box on both sides, and this will raise the lid up high enough to fit over your tall cake. No tools? No problem. You can still practice your cake decorating skills and get super smooth frosting using a ruler by resting the short end down on the cake board or turntable and pushing very, very gently as you spin the cake. This is so useful if you don't have a cake scraper. Other useful hacks are to use the wheel of a microwave as a turntable, if you don't have a turntable or you're visiting somewhere without one, and use Ziploc bags for piping if you don't have piping bags. Cut off a corner and squeeze the bag to pipe dots, lines, and messages. Make your own cake stencils instead of buying expensive ones that you'll probably only use once. Draw your design or message onto parchment paper or wax paper and cut it out, leaving the paper around it in one piece to use as your stencil. Wrap this around a cake after the cake has been in the fridge for at least an hour to set. Spread frosting over the stencil, spreading towards the middle of each shape, rather than from the middle outwards, so that the frosting doesn't get underneath the stencil. Scrape over it a few times with an offset spatula or angled palette knife or a cake scraper to take off the excess frosting and leave a thin, smooth layer behind. Peel the homemade stencil off and voila! Mini cakes are adorable and trendy, and you can make them without special mini cake pans. Bake cupcakes instead and peel the wrappers off, and if you like, you can cut them in half across the middle to make more layers, to make space for filling in between them. The most important part of making a mini cake is to spread some buttercream onto the middle of a cake board to act as glue, to attach the first cupcake down to the cake board, and then to chill the cake in the fridge for 30 minutes or the freezer for 15 minutes before frosting it, since mini cakes are so tiny and lightweight that you'll push them over if you spread frosting onto a room temperature mini cake. With a cold cake, you can get perfectly smooth frosting, and you can use any cake decorating hacks you'd use on a normal-sized cake. It's happened to everyone, adding too much milk or cream cheese to buttercream and making it too runny. Smooth frosting is really tricky when buttercream isn't stiff enough, so instead, add gorgeous texture by twisting your spoon gently over the surface of the frosting, leaving these pretty arc shapes behind. Or hold the back of a spoon or a spatula blade against the frosting and spin the cake to leave grooves in the frosting, and drag the spoon or spatula slowly upwards to pull the texture all the way up the sides of the cake. These pretty textured frosting options are quick and easy and look just as impressive as smooth frosting. A secretly useful tool for lots of cake decorating techniques is a toothpick. Outline shapes in your frosting before filling them in with frozen buttercream tiles to create a mosaic design. Or use the outline as a guide to fill with piped dots using the pointillist technique with a small round piping tip to create all sorts of shapes and figures. For messages, score the letters with a toothpick before piping them to make sure they're centered on the cake. Toothpicks are a great way to make your cake designs neater. If you're nervous about piping straight onto a cake, pipe onto parchment paper or wax paper instead. These swirls are for the top of a cake, and by piping them onto paper, I can freeze them for 10 minutes to make them hard, and then choose only my favorites, picking them up and placing them on my cake wherever I want them to go. To make individual portions of cake without needing extra small cake boards or packaging, put your cake together on a little piece of parchment or wax paper, and then lift it up on the paper and lower it into a takeout container, like this. Add some piping on top and some sprinkles, or frost the top and pipe a pretty border. These are so quick to make and easy to package for someone to take to work or school as a treat for lunch. Make your own custom cake toppers with this easy but effective technique. Melt chocolate and spoon it into a sandwich bag, cutting off one of the corners to pipe through. Write a message or draw a shape onto parchment paper or wax paper and then push a toothpick into the bottom, piping some more chocolate to cover it up. Pour sprinkles or colored sugar on top, pressing it gently into the melted chocolate, and when it sets, you'll be able to pick up your cake topper and push it into your cake so that it stands upright. So pretty. Tier cakes are gorgeous, but not always practical if you don't need that many portions from your cake. If you want the height and elegance of a tier cake without the waste, that's where cake dummies come in. Attach one of these styrofoam cylinders to a cake board with some buttercream so it sticks, and then frost and decorate just like you would for a normal cake, saving the time and cost of baking the extra cake, and no one will know the difference when they see it. You can scrape and wash and reuse these again and again and again, saving time and money each time. So now you know 10 cake decorating hacks that make your life easier and your cakes look better, even if you're a total beginner. Tell me in the comments which one you're going to try next, and visit my cake school on britishgirlbakes.com to learn hundreds more cake decorating techniques and designs. See you there!